Okay, hello everybody. This is another round of game development. As I said, last time we are moving to 3D. Last time we created some stuff in 3D, basically a terrain and some particle emitters, right? So I hope you had some fun building that. Today we'll be talking about lights. We'll create a new project for that. What we're gonna build is not part of any game. It's just for us to practice. I will call it 3D lights. I'm not adding any packages, just plain 3D project. Okay. What are we going to build? Let's add some plane to the scene. So we have some base where we can add some other components. So game object, 3D object, plane. That's our floor. Let's save this scene. By default, when you create a new 3D project, if everything goes right, what you should have in your scene is the main camera and the directional light. Right? So you have sun in your empty world. Also, if you go to window and you open lighting here, you can also control the amount of light that we call ambient light. So the light that is present in the in the environment, right? You can make it into a really sunny day, or you may have less light, less ambient light, right? This light is simply present in the environment. It's coming, you may say that it's coming from all directions, as opposed to the directional light. Right? If I select this one and I turn it off, I disable this light, you will see that just playing with the ambient light, I can make everything lighter, right? Brighter. But there's no direction, so all the shades will look in a different way. Okay, let's go back to the inspector and let's turn on our directional light. How? You have this checkbox here, right? This checkbox really says if the object is active or not. This one here. Or you can disable the component, the light. Let's build something in this environment. So let's add some 3D components. Let's build a little house. Let's build a little house. So we'll need some some cubes. Let's pull it up. And let's scale it. That's my wall. 5, 5.5. Anyway, one wall. Second wall. Another wall. Well, let's rotate this wall. Let's put it here. That's our room. We can also cover it with the ceiling. Not here, around X. We have a room, right? We have something that we can hide here inside. I mean, let's add something that we can hide inside. Let's add a sphere or another box or capsule, whatever you want. And here it is. What we can do with the light. With a directional light, we can change the intensity, right? How strong is the light? How bright it is, right? And you see that we go to 0, it's dark. If we reduce the amount of ambient light, everything is black. Right now, my ambient light is 0. And my intensity for the directional light is 0, right? If you go up with this, you start seeing some elements, right? They lighten up. So that's one thing. You can control the bounce intensity. So how strongly the light is bouncing from those objects, right? How much of the light is rebounced. And you can play with that. With these objects that we have right now, because they're not glossy, you won't see much difference. No? I think there may be some light from the skybox. No, we don't have any other light source. So it's only the directional light and the ambient light. Okay, if we add a little bit of the directional light, what else can we do with this light? We can change the angle, right? We can change the direction of this light. So what we can do, we can play with the rotation of the object. Let's say we'll change the rotation around X. What you can do, you can modify it here in the rotation, right? Just sliding or increasing and decreasing the rotation. Or you can play with it here, just holding the circle and making the rotation. And you have different effects. As we said in the lecture, the position of this light really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the direction. Okay, what else we can do? We can add a point light, right? So we can add, let's say, a bulb, a lamp inside our house, right? So let's go to lights and let's add a point light object. Right now it is sitting inside the cube. The cube is in a position cube 4, and the point light are more or less in the same position. We can pull it up or down, and you can see the effect on your cube, right? Two parameters that really matter. Like, of course, you can set the color for any kind of light, but two parameters that really matter for the point light is the range and intensity. Right? So how strong is the light and how far you see the effect of this light. So you can have something that is very condensed, or you can have a bigger sphere around the light. Also, with intensity, it changes, right? How strong is this light? You can play with the color. You can make it bluish, cold. And we are casting soft shadows. So that's our effect right now. we can also interact with the light in the game, right? So we can turn it on, turn it off, and so on. Let's turn it into a simple game. Let's add in assets. Let's import package characters. So I'm going to assets, import package characters. Okay, import. Because what I will do, I will turn this cube inside into a switch. When I tap it, I will turn on and off the light. And that will be done through the first-person character. So I'm selecting standard assets, characters, first-person character, prefabs, FPS controller. I will add this guy into our game somewhere here. So right now, I can turn and walk. And I can walk inside here. Sorry? The light is inside the box. Inside the cube 4, or almost inside. Okay, so to turn the cube into a switch, I need to add a script. All right, so I will create a new script. Light switch. I will add this script to my cube. Let's change the name of this cube 4 so we know that this is our switch. I will add script to this switch. Now open the script and write a little bit of the code. First thing, I need to know which light I'm working with, right? So serialize field, light, point light, null in the beginning. And then I want to change the state when I collide with the box, right? So public void on collision, enter. Collision, other. you take a look at the point light and the functions that are there, you will see that you have access to all, all settings of this light, right? So the baked index, bounce intensity, you can change color from here. You can set the flare, intensity, range. You can also set enabled, right? So let's say we will change the value of enabled. We'll switch the value, right? So if it's true, it will be false. If it's false, it will be true. Let's move our player. So we can see the box. What's missing? The association, right? No light is selected. Let's select the point light. And let's see. Is it called? Let's add a debug to see if it's working. Debug log switch the light. Is my spelling correct? It should be. I have the collision. I have the collider. I have a rigid body. I don't need this camera. My cube, my switch has a box collider. If I turn it into trigger, okay. If it's a trigger, it works. I think I know why. Because my cube doesn't have a rigid body. Okay, so just to show you this thing works. I will turn this into a trigger, the collider for this cube. And I will do one more thing. I will make this collider bigger than the box. So I will extrude the collider towards the player. This way, when we get closer, you see the light goes off and on. You can even move this object and put it somewhere closer to the player, like a switch on the wall. That wasn't a good idea. Okay, so this is working. Another effect that you may want to use in your game, you're building 3D game, you may want to turn this directional light and imitate the movement of the sun. Right? So let's say our sun will be simply rotating around z-axis, right? So what we can do, we can create another script, sun controller. We can add it to the directional light. Again, we can create an object light, sun. We start with null, but on start, we'll say that sun is equal to game object get component light. Now you can play with the color, right? You can make it a little bit more red over time. Or you can play simply with the game object transform rotate. You can play with rotation. And you can say that you want to rotate around the current point. Right, so it will be game object transform position. You want to rotate around that axis. So it will be vector 3 dot forward. And you need to say how much, right? Angle. And let's say we'll rotate just 1 degree per update. See what happens. If you save this, and you run your game, your light is rotating constantly, right? It's rotating pretty quickly, though. You can make this rotation slower, of course. The funny thing is that we have some light going through the floor. I don't know if you noticed. Here it is. Sure. Sorry? For the switch? Here it is. Okay, so we have directional light. It's imitating our sun. We have point light. It's hanging somewhere in the room. What else we can do with lights? We have a spotlight. Let's add spotlight. Here it is, right? It's defined by this cone. So let's say we want to rotate it and we'll create a flashlight for our player. Right, so this light, let me show you the light. Light is here, right? And the cone is 30 degrees down. I will make this light a child of the FPS controller. So I want this to move with the player, right? So I will just drag and drop the spotlight. We'll change the name from spotlight to flashlight. And I will create a script, C# flashlight controller. I will add this script to my flashlight object. Right, it's here. And what I will do, I will allow my player to turn it on and off. Right, so in update, I will check if if input dot get key down code, they will use L like light. We need access to the light object, flash light null. When we start, we'll do flashlight equals game object dot get component light. When the L is pressed, we'll simply change the state, right? So again, enabled equals not enabled. Simple, quite simple. So right now, if I play, I should be able to turn it on and off. And then the angle is not the best. We can change that, right? We can make this light pointing a little bit higher, 10 degrees. And we can make it a little bit wider, right? We can increase even intensity so we can see better. It's a good flashlight. The only thing is not following the camera, right? So probably it should be associated with the camera, and then it will move up and down, right? So we can parent it with the first-person character and see if it's gonna change. Yeah, now it's better. Now you can play CSI. You can control that, right? The only thing that you have to do is playing with the script, right? But you're saying you want to change the intensity when you're close to objects, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. It just requires some calculations. But you can use, for example, the ray casting to do that. Okay, so that's one thing. What else? Area lights. Area light is defined by a rectangle. Let me show you the view from the top. And let's turn off other lights so we can see it better. Directional light off, flashlight off. Then we'll move it. Okay, so area light, you take a look here. Let's move this. Is defined by a rectangle, a yellow rectangle around here. This rectangle is really saying how wide and how, what is the size of the light, right? So I can make it smaller or bigger, depending on my needs. We have also intensity, and this light will be baked in to the scene. When we run our game, this light will be baked in, and let's see. Not much that we can see. Where is it? You see that every time I move it, Unity is doing calculations. It's recalculating the game, really. Right, let's increase the intensity. Let's make it a little bit wider. Okay, let's see if we can see any effect of this light. Just slightly brighter floor. But you can imitate all kinds of things with this light. Basically, adding some extra illumination to floors, walls, and so on. Right, but this light cannot be modified during the game. Right, same thing with the if we, let's say, if we have our point light, right, what we can do right now, if I turn it on, I have this baking option, right? By default, the point light is real time. I can switch it to baked, and then this point light is added to the scene in a way that you cannot modify it later, right? Baked means all settings are saved. Sorry. All settings are saved, pre-compiled, pre-calculated, and baked into the scene. Whatever you do with this light later, it won't have any effect on the final effect in the game, right? If you move objects, then yes. But if you if you remove object, the shades will stay, right? You can also change it to mixed, and with mixed, you can play with certain things. You can play with intensity and the color, but you cannot change the position of the light. Right? It's fixed. Okay. And I think we'll finish here. I will give you today some time to work on your projects, to discuss your progress and see what's going on with the projects. And next week we'll play a little bit with animations and with cameras, and we'll close the topics, right? And then we need some time for the presentations, and we need some time for the final test. And that will be it. Yeah, if you have projects, I will take a look, and if you have any questions, we can discuss them today. Also, if you have any requests in terms of any needs in terms of the project, some things that you want to discuss or you want to see how to do them, let me know, and we'll include them in the next lab. Okay, I will stop the recording now.